irrespective of gender, perform the Hajj rites the same way and at the same time.
I'm standing on the fourth floor of the mighty building, the mighty edifice, housing 3 mighty pillars, and on each of the days of the stoning of the devil, over 3 million people gather here to perform the religious act.
Join us on the largest radio network in Africa, the network service of Radio Nigeria, every Friday at 4:30 p.m. for Hajj, a spiritual journey, an enlightenment program on the pilgrimage, brought to you by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. Now,
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
As earlier mentioned, President Bola Tinubu has approved the immediate employment of 774 newly trained National Health Fellows under the Ministry of Health. The President made the announcement at the launch of the fellowship program and the presentation of a report on the state of Nigeria's health at the State House Conference Center in Abuja. Bello Wakili now reports.
It was a significant moment for the 774 young Nigerians, one from each local government area, who made it this far. They were selected from a pool of 360,000 applicants emerging as the best. The Minister of Health, Professor Ali Pati, said the fellows come from different fields, including medicine, information technology, social sciences, and finance. They have undergone world-class training to equip them for practical role in public health administration. He maintained that they are now ready to contribute to solving health challenges across the country.
There are 2 types of horses, Your Excellency. There are show horses and there are work horses. These are largely the workhorses that will work very diligently, like all of us, to implement, to execute, to ensure health gets better.
President Bola Tinubu described the fellows as valuable assets to the nation. He assured that this administration will continue to invest in young talent, providing them with the skill needed to fulfill their potential.
As the preamble in our constitution, we the people, you are the people, we will give our best to ensure the sun shines and you develop, and Nigeria will be a country of pride to every one of us.
The president emphasized that strong healthcare systems are key to sustainable development. He said the goal of the program is to build a network of health leaders who will drive meaningful and lasting improvement in Nigerians' health care.
And I believe with our support, you'll be great. The coordinating minister and the champion of this program has requested for an approval. And luckily, the Minister of Finance coordinating economy is here also. So for that, you are hired.
At the end of the event, President Bola Tinubu also launched a report on the state of the health in the country. From the presidential villa, Bello Wakili, Radio Nigeria.
Still talking health, stakeholders at the Youth Health Financing Dialogue in Abuja have called for a health finance policy targeting unemployed and vulnerable youths. The call followed findings from the Youth Health Access Survey, which revealed significant financial challenges faced by these groups in accessing healthcare. The event, organized by the Development Education Network Dean Initiative in collaboration with Irish Aid, is to address these critical issues and drive actionable solutions. Annabelle Wachuku reports.
The Youth Health Access Survey Report is a comprehensive analysis on understanding the challenges faced by young people in accessing healthcare services. It emphasizes critical issues such as financial barriers, gaps in social protection, and the overall state of youth health in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. The Executive Director of the Development Education Network, Dean Initiative, Mr. Shimei Michael, underscored Nigeria's growing youth population and the importance of sustainable health financing tailored to their needs. Mr. Michael stressed the need for a multi-sectoral collaboration in addressing health challenges faced by young people to enhance healthcare access and affordability.
If you want a healthy workforce, investment in youth healthcare provision is key. 2, convey a serious-minded stakeholders meeting to look for alternative funding mechanisms to fund healthcare provision for young people.
Presenting the report on the Youth Health Access Survey, Program Manager at Dean Initiative, Mr. Taye Ojo, outlined the health challenges faced by young people in the FCT, including ignorance amongst young Nigerians of existing health insurance scheme, making them more likely to rely on self-medication.
The only challenges of young people in terms of health are sexual related. Begin to establish the current anxiety, depression, drug abuse, and mental health as these current challenges, and these premiums, when made available for young people to access, can cover this area.
In a presentation, a public health expert, Dr. Gafar Alawode, provided insights into existing policies and the gaps that need to be addressed in the health sector.
Nigerian government spend roughly around $10 per person, and whereas for us to move towards universal health, we need around $86. In terms of budgetary allocation, we are all familiar with Abuja declaration that says 15%. Nigerian government is currently doing below 5% or thereabout.
Dr. Alawode emphasized the need for increased funding and youth engagement in policy formulation process to ensure their needs were effectively addressed. Other stakeholders also called for increased budgetary allocations for youth health and the adoption of youth-centered financing strategies to foster a healthier and more productive population. In Abuja, Annabelle Nwachukwu, Radio Nigeria.
Stakeholders at the Youth Health Financing Dialogue in Abuja.
Yeah, I've read that story. The next one is that the Nursery and Midwifery Council of Nigeria has expressed its commitment to produce nurses equipped with the requisite knowledge, clinical skills, and professional intelligence to render effective health care for Nigerians. Acting Registrar of the Council, Dr. Ndaji Al-Hassan, stated this during the induction oath-taking ceremony of newly qualified graduate nurses of the University of Jos. Josiah Busum tells us more.
The event was to formally receive the inductees into the nursing profession. The acting secretary of the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, Dr. Ndaji Al-Hassan, emphasized the need to improve the quality of nursing services in the country by empowering them to make sound diagnosis, design appropriate care plan, as well as implement and evaluate nursing care holistically and comprehensively. He was represented by the head of Department Planning, Research and Statistics of the Council, Aliu Adamu.
You should be able to develop, initiate strategies for health promotion, implement and evaluate such strategies for necessary outcomes.
Dr. Al-Hassan called on the inductees to learn from their colleagues who have been practicing, as well as accept corrections, improve and make adjustments positively where necessary. He charged them to adhere to the ethics of the profession at all times and display humility and honesty. The Vice Chancellor, University of Jos, Professor Tanko Ishaya, noted that just like other professions, nurses also have their challenges and rewards.
The demanding nature of nursing includes long hours of work, emotional challenges, and complex medical situations, while emphasizing the immense personal fulfillment and satisfaction that comes with making a positive impact in the patient's life.
Professor Tanko Ishaya charged them to always approach their patients with empathy, understanding, and genuine desire to alleviate their suffering. The Dean Faculty of Health Sciences of the university, Professor James Damien MNI, had an advice for the inductees.
When you are talking to patients, please know that they are human beings and they are in a position that they want you to assist them. And nobody is immune to diseases. You are a nurse today, tomorrow you will be a patient.
The head of department, Professor Oluwatoyin Ogunyo, said they had established ties with other universities and research institutions to enhance the quality of nursing profession and practice. Highlight of the event was the administration of oaths on the 139 inductees by the acting registrar, Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. From Jos, Josiah Budzun, Radio Nigeria.
As part of efforts by the present administration to create jobs and grow the economy for the teeming unemployed youths across the country, the federal government has signed a memorandum of understanding with a private firm, the Abuja Creative City, to serve as an innovation, media, culture, and entertainment hub. Situated at Idu area of the Federal Capital Territory, the Abuja Creative City will offer world-class infrastructure drawing inspiration from global creative hubs like the Dubai Media City and Tech Hub in London. Minister of Art, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy, Hajia Hanatu Musa Musawa, at the signing of the MOU in Abuja, reiterated the commitment of President Bola Tinubu's administration to workable and sustained partnerships geared towards growing the nation's economy for today and future generations.
That vision that Bola Ahmed Tinubu had is one not about just building the creative industry. His vision is about empowering future generations. While our oil will deplete and everything else that has made us very rich no longer exists, who we are as a people, our history as a people is something very, very palpable.
Hajia Hanatu Musa Musawa also harped on the need to promote and sustain the nation's diverse cultures for future generations.
People all over Nigeria that have never had the opportunity to have the kind of training, the capacity building, just access and network into a creative sector that they so love, will have the opportunity to do it here.
Earlier in a remark, the director of the Abuja Creative City Hub, Mr. Bayo Omoriowo, commended the federal government and its sustained private sector collaboration to ensure job creation and lift people out of poverty.
This is the future, and the future is now. The creative economy of Nigeria can no longer be art for art's sake, but art for industry, art for socio-economic development of Africa. This initiative is about the Nigerian people, a people who have great potentials inside of them. And at the Creative Park, we are creating an ecosystem that can attract people to come here, be developed, accelerate their vision, get the funding from both private and public sector to build the Nigeria we dearly need.
Mr. Moboriowo maintained that the Abuja Creative City would celebrate Nigeria's history, showcasing arts, music, film, and other creative expressions, while making it Africa's cultural flagship center.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, has reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to fully implement the two memoranda of understanding signed between the China Media Group and two key Nigerian public broadcasters, the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria and the Nigerian Television Authority, the last forum on China-Africa cooperation in Beijing. Alhaji Mohammed Idris, who stated this when he received the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Yu Tenhai, on a courtesy visit, said the agreements were designed to strengthen bilateral cooperation in the media and communication sector, thereby fostering deeper collaboration between Nigeria and China. The minister also called on Chinese companies to take advantage of the reforms being implemented by the Tinubu administration and invest in the Nigerian economy.
The Nigerian Television Authority, which is the largest television network in the whole of Africa, and with over 100 channels. We also have the same thing with also one of the largest radio network in Africa, the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. Now, these two MOUs have already been signed, so you can be rest assured that whatever is our part in those agreements, Nigeria would definitely keep its place. But let me say, in this age where information can be useful and also dangerous at the same time, it is important that all countries respect right information that you give out to people.
Earlier, the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Yu Tenhai, said as the new Chinese envoy to Nigeria, he will spare no efforts to deepen the existing ties between Nigeria and China. He said he looked forward to the realization of the Memorandum of Understanding signed between Nigeria's two foremost public broadcasters, the NTA and FRCN, and the China Media Group, because the media plays an important role in shaping the society.
The two presidents witnessed the signing of a dozen of the cooperation documents. Among those documents, there are two under the portfolio of the Honorable Minister. That is the MOU on cooperation between the China Media Group and the NTA, and another one is the MOU cooperation between China Media Group and the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. And we look forward to materialize the important consensus reached between our two heads of states.
The ambassador said the Chinese President Xi Jinping had pledged $50 billion for investment in Africa within the next 3 years, in keeping with the 10 memoranda of understanding signed at the last forum on China-Africa cooperation.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, has commended the Nigeria Institute of Public Relations for their efforts in winning the bid to host the World Public Relations Forum in 2026 in Nigeria. He gave the commendation when the management of the institute, led by its president, Dr. Ike Neliaku, led other members on a visit to his office in Abuja. According to Alhaji Muhammad Idris, the event would offer Nigeria the opportunity to market itself to the world.
On behalf of the government, I congratulate you for winning this bid. This is a big one for Nigeria. All those who matter in the world of public relations congregating in this country post the 2026 WPRF. It's a big thing for Nigeria, and Nigerians are very happy, and we also very proud as Minister of Information working with you to ensure that this is going to happen here. I will brief the President and the Federal Executive Council, give a note on this, and to also tie it to the hosting right of the UNESCO Category 2 MIL that Nigeria has also won.
Earlier, President of the Nigeria Institute of Public Relations, Dr. Ike Neliako, who informed the minister about the good news, sought the support of the federal government towards hosting the global event.
The WPRF is the gathering of who is who in public relations all over the world. Any country that hosts it will be on global news before, during, and after. So it's a big do for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's a big do for the current administration. And interestingly, 2025 is when Global Alliance is supposed to be celebrating. But we found a way to build it into our bid. So it's a double honor.
The NIPR delegation also used the opportunity to invite the minister to attend its annual general session, which is to take place in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital, in May this year.
From the information sector to issues that concern women, the UN Women Country Representative to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Beatrice Eyong, says it will upscale its resource centers across the country to mentor women in political participation and development. Eyong, who was a guest on Radio Nigeria's program Politics Nationwide, observed that women participation was a development requirement that would be instrumental to national advancement. The UN Women Country Representative emphasized the need for the empowerment of the girl child, noting that feminization of poverty needs to be curbed from the early stage.
You don't just get up from sleep and say you are going to do politics. You have to learn it. You have to train yourself. You have to be coached. You have to be mentored. So in those centers, women come there. They may need material support. They'll have it. Access to internet. They have training. They have online training. They have politicians within the country and out of the country who can coach them, who can mentor them, who can advise them.
Another guest, a development consultant and governance expert, Agape Uyima, said effective and sustainable legislative framework remained one of the solutions to encourage women participation in politics.
Everyone does see that there's a huge problem with political leadership, and so the reintroduction of that special seats bill will try and create seats for women. Now, this is a temporary measure. It's been used in several places, and it's been advocated for, not just in politics, even in the work environment where you see that women are not present.
Both guests maintains that Nigeria has a rich reservoir of competent women who have shown excellence in their endeavors and urged policymakers to take advantage of their contributions.
Still on women, the Minister of Women Affairs, Imam Sulaiman Ibrahim, has described the significant increase in the ministry's budget, the first in its 30-year history, as a landmark decision that signals a new era of commitment to women's empowerment under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. Smith called in Abuja at a media briefing to flag off the 2025 International Women's Day celebration with the theme, Accelerate Action. Hajia Iman Sulaiman Ibrahim emphasized that real transformation for Nigerian women and girls required government-owned initiatives backed by robust national financing.
For too long, our interventions have been largely dependent on donor funding, an approach that, while helpful, is neither sustainable nor sufficient. Transformation requires nationally owned investments. This is why we commend President Bola Tinubu and all other stakeholders, particularly the National Assembly and the economic team, who has, for the first time in the history of the ministry, significantly raised its budget. This landmark decision signals a new era of government commitment to institutionalizing women's empowerment as a core pillar of our national development.
On gender-based violence, Hajia Iman Sulaiman Ibrahim reiterated the need for stronger enforcement of laws like the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act and the Child's Rights Act, stressing that every Nigerian woman and girl must experience these rights as a reality, not just on paper.
As of today, 35 states have domesticated the VAP Act, while 34 states have adopted the Child Rights Act, a step in the right direction, but not yet enough. We need full compliance, effective enforcement, and accountability to ensure that the rights enshrined in this are lived realities for every Nigerian woman and girl.
As part of activities marking the 2025 International Women's Day celebration, which comes up tomorrow, the Ministry of Women Affairs presented Mrs. Lois Auta, a disability rights advocate, with a new electronic mobility device.
We're not done with women. The Senate has marked the International Women's Day with a strong consensus to initiate legislations that will remove all barriers to the progress of women across the Federation. The upper chamber also pledged to ensure a 35% affirmative action for women in the National Assembly and all governance processes, consistent with the nation's national gender policy and United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW. The President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, made the promise at a 3-day program the legislature organized to commemorate the 2025 International Women's Day held at the Old Senate Chamber, National Assembly Complex, Abuja. The President of the Senate said the 2025 International Women's Day theme, Economic and Political Inclusion, Walk the Talk, was commemorated to galvanize collective action and shared ownership for driving gender parity in the country. Addressing a large gathering of women, Senator Akpabio assured the women that lawmakers would remove all obstacles hindering the socio-economic progress of women and gender equality across the nation. The Minister of Women Affairs, Iman Sulaiman Ibrahim, while highlighting the commitment of President Bola Tinubu to the welfare of women, pointed out that women had done so well and should continue to work toward promoting initiatives that would further engender their progress and gender equality. The 3-day event, facilitated by the Special Assistant to the Senate President on Public Hearing and Events, Mrs. Muniz Abisola, and the Director of Media and Public Affairs, Mrs. Tabitha Sala, was attended by the Deputy President of the Senate, Barrow Jibrin, and the Leader of the Senate as well, Senator Okpeyemi Bamidele.
All reactions have continued to trail the suspension of Senator Natasha Odoran by some senators. Zacchaeus Babalola, who has kept tabs on the development, takes it from the Red Chamber of the National Assembly.
The Senate suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Ndiaga for 6 months over what the Ethics Committee described as misconduct. The suspension was recommended by the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition, citing violation of the Senate's rules and disrespect towards the institution. The committee chairman, Senator Imasu Neda Bernard, representing Edo South Senatorial District, said the committee carried out an investigation on Wednesday, during which the female lawmaker was afforded the opportunity to state her own side of the story. He read the committee's report during the plenary.
That the Senate do suspend Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan with effect from 6 March 2025 from all legislative activities. That her office be locked up for the duration of her suspension and hand over all Senate properties in her possession to the clerk of the National Assembly. That for the duration of her suspension, she cannot come or be seen within the vicinity of the National Assembly, including her staff. That her salaries and allowances, including those of her legislative aides, be suspended and withdraw of all security details for the duration of her suspension. That for the period of her suspension, she be barred from representing herself to the public, locally and internationally, as a Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Across sections of lawmakers in their reaction expressed concern over the conduct of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Some of the senators are Jimo Ibrahim, Ondo South, Asuko Epeyong, Cross River South, Damdusi Mohammed, Katsina South, and Senator Mohammed Mongono, the chief whip of the Senate.
There will be complete breakdown of orders, and of course in a society where there are no rules and orders, you are the hegemon here by law, and you have to obey the rules and regulations and ensure there is compliance.
What occurred here was a flagrant disregard or maybe a misunderstanding of these rules. These rules assures that this Senate is stronger as a whole than the sum total of our parts. I stand by the prayers that this committee's report states, and I say that please, there is little or no need to continue to debate this.
Against the lifting of any suspension less than 6 months, which was recommended by the committee. As I said earlier on, and clearly also in the report, he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. You cannot at one end seek to take refuge under certain provisions of the rules, and in another arm seek to violate it.
Other senators that spoke include Senator Francis Padansi, Osun East, and Sunday Karimi, Kogi West, advocating for mercy.
My role now is how to bring this integrity back. Once damage is done, to bring it back is a long story. All of us must have to work hard. Within this period, we have to bring it back.
We are not sent here because of all these intrigues and all this rubbish. We are sent here to work for our people. Let the decision of the committee let it stand.
The minority leader of the Senate, Senator Adam Moro, recommended a 3-month suspension, which he said was enough for the lawmaker to realize her mistakes.
This Senate is aware we are living in our homes. We have very recalcitrant children. We don't drive these children away from the house. So we keep begging them to be of good behavior. Sometimes we beat them too. And so we are faced with this situation that we all know impinges on the integrity of this institution, that is ordinarily the highest lawmaking institution in Nigeria. And so the expectation of many Nigerians is that we must demonstrate the highest level of integrity.
After contributions were made by some senators from the ruling and minority party, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, made remarks highlighting his personal connection to the senator.
On the day of our marriage, I slept in Kogi in her house, 2021 or 22. The next day, I ran to Ubajana Airport. I missed my flight because the plane could not land since there are no lights. I ended up sleeping at Dangote Cement Factory. Even when Senator Webwe attempted to say that he was present in the same car, the social media said he was lying. We are being dragged to the floor. I have a responsibility if you look at the rules of the Senate.
Meanwhile, the suspension for 6 months was sustained by the Senate President after a voice vote.
That the Senate do suspend Senator Natasha Akpotu-Uduaghan for 6 months for a total violation of the Senate Standing Rules 2023 as amended for bringing the presiding officer and the entire Nigerian Senate in general to a public opprobrium. Those in support of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Despite the suspension, Senator Akpotu-Uduaghan has vowed to continue serving her constituents through other means.
This injustice will not be sustained.
Senator Uduaghan said the action against her are politically motivated. From the National Assembly Complex, Zacchaeus Papalola, Radio Nigeria.
That's where you're right at, and you're listening to the news. We'd like to thank you for staying with us. In the headlines this morning, President Bola Tinubu has approved the immediate employment of newly trained National Health Fellows. Stakeholders have called for health finance policy targeting unemployed youths in the country. Senate has pledged 35% affirmative action for women in the National Assembly. Still to come, Air Force personnel assault electricity workers in Lagos State. There's sports, spotlight, cyber scoop, newspaper headlines, and weather report. It's 26 minutes to 8 already. When we return,